Matt, I'll start off. Just after you watched the film, what impressions did you have of yesterday's game?
I think a lot of things that we set out to do, we just didn't get accomplished. We knew we had to stop the run. Weren't able to do that. You can see that in the numbers. A lot of credit to them. I thought they came out and introduced some big personnel packages that they hadn't done a lot of. Got downhill, ran through contact. We didn't obviously tackle or get off blocks, to our liking. Didn't get to the quarterback. I think we had only held them had only had one negative play against them. So, all the things that we knew we were going to have to do. We were going to have to get pressure on the quarterback. We were going to have to stop the run, create some turnovers. Really, none of that happened in the game. So offensively, I thought we ran the ball well. I was really pleased with the young backs. I thought, when I say young, I mean Royce is a veteran, but I mean the other guys. I thought Rodney and Chuba and Royce all did a nice job. Our receivers, I thought DJ and Robbie both made plays. I thought Sam was efficient at times. If we could give him better protection, I think we struggled up front to protect. I think part and parcel of that is, we knew they had good rushers. You've heard me talk this week about how good Randy Gregory is, and man, he showed up. And it's one of the hard things about going on the road, especially to a place like Dallas, is the volume, the silent cadences, and we just didn't play well enough. But I think it's one of those games, Scott, where we weren't good anywhere across the board, good enough anywhere across the board. And that always starts with me, then to the coordinators and position coaches and players. I mean, we had 10 days to get them ready for that game, and they had 6, and they were, they played better than us. So, we'll have to obviously address that this week and move forward.
How did you come out of it injury-wise?
We had a couple things. Some guys are getting MRIs right now and banged up. Nothing as of yet that I would say is super alarming. Obviously Shaq hurt his foot in the game and came back and finished the game. Cam Irving's been playing banged up. Johnny Miller's been playing banged up. So we'll see. Over the next 2 days where we are Wednesday.
Thanks.
Will Pelagic, followed by Joe Person.
Matt, when it comes to the run defense, did Dallas unlock something with their rush offense scheme-wise, or was it more of an effort positioning type thing on your team's part?
Yeah, I had no issue with our players' effort. I thought, our guys played hard. I think it's a mixture of all things, Will. I think if you talk to Phil, he'd be the first to say, he wishes he would have done some different things. I think if you talk to the guys, they would, to a man, it wasn't any one thing at any one time, And when you're facing an offensive line as good as the Cowboys and a running back, 2 running backs as good as those guys are, and then also having to deal with 2 guys out wide in man-to-man, it's kind of a pick-your-poison deal. So, a lot of respect for them. As I said, they did come out and play some big sets, and, we struggled to match up to those big sets. And so as we leave here, the coaches, we'll work on that. We'll know that people are going to come out and try to do that to us moving forward. And I expect, really the players, coaches, everyone to just kind of have that mindset that we're going to have to stop the run. And obviously this week the Eagles is a different type of run, but we have to know that people are going to, try to overpower us with tight ends and extra linemen.
And just if I can follow up, what did you think of the play of C.J. Henderson? I know he got beat on that one play, but how else do you feel like he went overall?
I thought C.J. played well. I mean, even that one play, we blitz and, one of the guys up front goes the wrong way. It's probably going to be a sack. And so, he's step for step with Amari down the side. Amari's one of the best players in pro football. Dak makes a great throw. He makes a great catch. I told C.J. after that, I'm not even thinking about that play. It's just one play in a whole game. So I thought CJ showed up on the run, did a nice job for only having a couple days, and this week I'm sure his knowledge of what we're doing will be even better.
Matt, you mentioned the MRIs. Those guys that you also referenced, Shaq, John, and Cam, are those among those getting MRIs?
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys getting them. We give a really at the end of the day, like we're very, very player, centric. Like if someone's got anything, we usually MRI it just so we can give them answers. So I think Johnny's is pretty much it is what it is, right? He's just been battling through that shoulder. So, but anytime you play a game like that, tough ball game, you have a bunch of guys. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll give an injury report Wednesday and let you guys know exactly where we are.
Do you expect Christian to be out again this week?
I'm going to get to Wednesday and see. I think, talking to Christian, I think he's going to, come out and practice Wednesday and see where exactly he is football-wise.
David Newton, followed by Steve Reed.
Hey, Matt, more of a big picture type thing. How would you sum up Sam's first 4 games? What you like? What do you feel like he needs to improve on?
I think Sam's done a nice job. He's moved the team. He's run the football well in the red zone. He's protected the ball for the most part. Obviously, we had 2 takeaways yesterday, two giveaways yesterday. But when I look at us overall, I have a lot of confidence when Sam has the ball in his hands. I mean, we just got to keep finding ways to protect him and give him time. The more time he has, I think the better and better and better he'll be. And I like the fact, David, that he's starting to run the football. I think that adds an extra element to defenses. I think the biggest thing yesterday is we also had a couple opportunities of some big plays that we didn't quite connect on, and that would be the next step for me is when we do take a shot down the field, just making sure that we're on the same page and have that chemistry there so we can hit a couple of those big plays. So, but I think through the first 4 games, Sam has certainly further ahead of where I would think a guy in the first year in the system would be. But there's a lot of football left, so we'll just keep coaching him, and I'm sure he'll continue to have the same process because, as you've heard me say, he's a guy that he's first in, last to leave. He's got the right approach.
And did you see anything before you got him that made you think, hey, he can be a threat down in the red zone with his legs?
Oh yeah, I mean he had a 46-yard run I think last year. He bounced off several guys. I mean, he had basketball scholarships coming out of high school. I mean, we did a lot of research on all those things, and I think that's a key in the NFL today is having a quarterback that can move. Unless if you have you have some guys who can get past it, but I think it's just an added benefit. If you have a guy who can move and slide and run, and so he hasn't gotten sacked very often with pressure in his face. Usually it's been when he doesn't see it, because when he feels pressure, he does a really nice job of evading it. And people are twisting us, running twist games a lot with the defensive line up front, and that can be tough to pick up. It can also give us a chance to attack it and get outside the pocket. So the more he does that, the better we'll be, as we go through the season.
Thanks.
Well, David kind of stole my question there, Matt. So I'll ask you about the kicking game. What'd you see on the blocked field goal? And, do you still feel confident in Zane moving forward, or is that a position that you might consider bringing some more people in and working some people out?
No, I don't know why I would feel that way. Zane's been, to me, has been good. If anything, Steve, I'm upset with some of our protection. You know what I mean? It's like, we haven't had that problem, and now all of a sudden we're not quite getting the blocking we need. Is Zane going to be a 56, 57, 58-yard field goal guy? That's not, but what I wanted to be was I wanted to be inside of 50. I want to be, hey, we're gonna make the kicks, and so I have tremendous confidence with him inside 50. I stretched it out in the dome the other day to 54, and even with a hand on it, he still had a chance there. So. I think the step forward he made in terms of going back to a long approach and kicking the ball out of the end zone, that was a huge thing for us. So I'm pleased with Zane. I think he's only going to get better and better and better. The more confident he gets in our operation, and we'll just have to continue to improve the protection up front.
John Alexander, followed by Darren.
Hey man, it seemed after the game, you and some of the players, you all were upset, but it just seemed like maybe there was some optimism. So did you come away from this game more optimistic? Like, we know what we got to do. Like, these are areas that we can fix, and we're almost there. Did you come away more optimistic from that game?
I think the thing that I believe in, whether we've won or lost, I hope that you find consistency in me. That I always think that there's good and bad things in every game, right? And so obviously you're happy when you win, you're disappointed when you lose. I'm never going to be despondent. I mean, there's too many highs and lows of a season, right? So I'm always just trying to be very even keel and address those things. I think the key is to come in and find the truth. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? Starting with me, then the coaches and the players. So What I don't want is I don't want us feeling good about the fact that we came back and made it a close game. Like at the end of the day, we're still down 3 scores in the fourth quarter. Like I'm proud of the fact that our guys showed some grit, but we have to play better, have to coach better. That being said, there's a lot of good things in that game, and teams to me learn from games like this if they're willing to. And I think we have a good group of guys that are going to learn from it. So I don't know if optimistic is the right word. It's just, that was the game this week. We wanted to go 1-0 last week. We didn't do it. We flipped to today. We learned from it to improve, and then we get focused on Philly. So that's the only way to meet. 17 games is a long time, man. It's the only way to just make sure our team. I don't want to be one of these teams. I want to be an even keeled team. So to do that, you have to not get too high when you win, not get too low when you lose. So definitely disappointed, but appreciate our guys' effort.
Matt, you've made several references today to protecting Sam better. How do you fix that with the group of personnel on hand, and are you considering any changes to the lineup?
How do you do that better? I mean, I think like anything else, like our run defense. You're always looking at first as a coach. Can I do anything schematically better? Can we help somebody when they have a tough matchup? Part of it's coming home. When you're on the road and you're using silent cadences. I mean, that's why the home team has an advantage. If it's anything else, it's really rushing and protecting the passer. When it's really loud, you're going off silent cadences. So I think we look at everything. In terms of personnel. I don't think it's ever like we're not a quick fix operation. I mean, we'll always say, hey, are the best guys playing? But at the same time, no matter who's out there. Are they using the right technique? Are they improving? Are we giving them all the tools they need to be successful? So we made some adjustments in that game, and I think that helped us. And so I'm anxious to see where we are this week. So I haven't done much on Philadelphia yet. I saw them a lot last week as we got ready for the Cowboys. I just watched the Chiefs game. So we'll have to wait and see what the game plan looks like before we do anything.
Do you still think those starting 5 offensive linemen are your best 5?
Like I just said, I'm going to have to go through the game and see, go through this next opponent, see where they are. I think a lot of it comes down to, too, Darren, who's healthy when we get to Wednesday. Those guys, while it's not always perfect, those guys are playing hard for us and they've been banged up. So I appreciate the way they're playing. So we'll see what we do moving forward this week. See who's healthy, see who's available, and take full stock at where we are.
We have time for a few more, so we go Antonio Ramos and Scott Fowler.
Hey, Matt, just curious to know what's your evaluation on third quarters this season? You guys have allowed 28 points and you scored 7 on third quarters. That's a minus 21 differential in scoring. What do you think is going on right after halftime?
I think in this past game, we had a chance. DJ had a long run that should have been a touchdown if a couple guys would have played a little harder and made some blocks. And got down there and then had a chance to kick a field goal, and obviously it didn't work out. So I was actually pleased with the way we came out of the half. Versus was it the Saints or was it last week? It was the Texans last week. I thought we had an excellent third quarter. Came out, we took the ball down, scored right after the halftime. So I felt, Antonio, like we had done better coming out of the half. Obviously yesterday. Was not good enough. So it's been something that's bothered us for a while, and it's like anything else. Like if I knew how to fix it, then it would be already fixed. So I just keep chipping away at it. So I thought last week was a step in the right direction. I actually liked the way we came out yesterday. We moved the ball right down the field, and then I missed that field goal, and then kind of let go of the rope a little bit. But it's something that we'll just continue to work on. It's a good question, and we want to be a 60-minute team. I like who we are in the fourth quarter. We just need to carry that over coming out of the half.
Matt, I wanted to ask you about DJ, and maybe I didn't want to ask you particularly about that play, but if you will describe what happened on that one. I don't exactly remember it, but I want you also, if you would just quantify a little for us how well he's playing right now versus what you saw in what was an excellent season also last year. But is this the best he's been?
Yeah, DJ's been excellent, and I think the biggest thing is I know some of you guys watch the All-22 film and all that. Go look at the play at the end of the game where Zylstra catches the ball on 4th and 9. And, yeah, I was inspired watching DJ Moore sprinting, running 4-3 down the right sideline to maybe go – probably not, but maybe go make a block to spring Zylstra. Like when your best players play that hard, I mean, you always are going to have a chance. If you look at the play in the first half where he catches the ball across the middle and gets knocked, hit hard by Micah Parsons, watch Tommy Tremble hits a guy for him and then sprints to go pick him up. Like there's signs of really good stuff on there. And I think DJ's one of those guys. He's such a good player. He blocks for us. He runs routes even when he knows he's not going to get the ball open. He went in the backfield last game, to run routes out of the backfield. He's a guy, Scott, that he can actually, in practice, he'll leave the huddle before he hears the whole play call because he's such a pro that the minute he hears he knows it's third down, the minute he hears the personnel group and starts to hear the formation, he knows what the play is going to be like. And I say all that because I don't know if people, like even on our own team, recognize how much of a pro he is. And that's why he's having so much success. I always laugh like if he was born like in my generation, he would have been a tailback, with his body balance and speed, and now he's a wideout in today's football. But he's really a special player. But I love what he does without the football, and if we can continue to carry that over, he caught a shallow cross coming out of the half, and he took off, and just a couple of one of our young players just doesn't realize yet that hey, we got to play all the way to the whistle. So Robbie turns up and blocks, and Terrace is kind of running down the field and doesn't turn up and block. And had he had that, DJ might have scored. And so that's just the learning process of young players when you're playing with a bunch of rookies, having them understand, hey, we can't take anything for granted, And DJ doing that is a great, as we come out of this, Jonathan asked if I was optimistic. No, but there's a lot of good things to teach off of this game. Like, hey, if we all just turn up and block, don't worry about the results. We have good process, then good results will come. And DJ's a guy to me that's doing that at a really high level.
David Newton, last one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the third quarter, but when you mentioned earlier that you felt good about the effort, but then you said with the DJ, if guys had played harder, is there a contradiction there at all, or is that just something from that one play? Or
well, I think when I think what I said, and I could be wrong. I think they asked me about the defense was an issue of effort on defense, okay. And I had no issue with the effort on defense. I think we could have played way better on defense. I think we could have coached better. I do think on offense, David, like we sometimes we play hard. I don't know if some of our guys are saying to themselves, "Hey, DJ Moore could break this," and there's really just one or two plays like that I was talking about. That play with Terrace, where it's just. We're playing with, 3 or 4 rookies on offense, at times. And so, they have to understand, like, hey, in these ball games, it can't be an almost or a my bad moment. Like, you've got to go make those plays. So I think globally as a team, there was no issue with effort. I do think that some of those plays, like it just one more block, one more step can be the difference in winning and losing. And, when you're coming from college and, you're used to winning 42-17 and then you get in these games, like, no matter what the score was, I figured that it would be a one-score ball game at the end of the game. And as bad as it got, it still was a one-score game because that's just the NFL. So I think that's more what I mean. But I want to make defensively, I thought there was really good effort.
And when you went back and looked at it, any second thoughts on the field goal, the 54-yard field goal? Because you've been pretty consistently playing field position and letting your defense do their stuff for the first 3 games, and that seemed to be a little contradiction there.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when I go out there to the dome and he's making those kicks before the half, like as I've grown with my confidence in Zane and I've seen him make those kicks, I've said, you know what, like at the end of the day yesterday, I was going to try to play to win that game. I think I said that to you guys all week, like, hey, we're facing a great offense. We're facing probably one of the best teams in the National Football League. I was going to try to play to go win. If it would have been 4th and 5, I probably would have gone for it, you know what I mean, offensively. Because it was 4th and 6, I had kind of determined, like, hey, I'm going to try to take these points. And I think that's a kick, especially in a dome, that Zane's going to make. And so when I saw him kicking off and kicking it out of the end zone, when I saw him in pregame making those kicks, I made the decision, like, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these points. And at the end of the day, our defense is going to have to get they're going to have to get stops too, and so I played that aggressively. I think that was for me that was the right call. Anytime I make a call and it doesn't work out, I'm like I still don't ever want to let the result change whether I think what I did was right or not. So had it come up short, maybe I'd feel differently, but because it was long enough, I think that's the way to go. And for us, we'd like to go eventually be a playoff team, and for us to be a playoff team, we're going to have to make kicks from the 34, 35, 36-yard line. So, I'm going to let have taken this approach. I'm going to let the players play and trust them to go make plays. And, We made a lot of plays, just didn't make enough. So that's kind of my thought process.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes, sir.